life. They had joined hands and thrown him out without mercy, and he had said nothing, swallowed it all, and carried it alone. Every detail that comes to her breaks something open, and she breaks down completely in the hospital room. The regret is real, and it is enormous. She is furious at herself for the day. Vivienne spoke a few words in her ear, and she cast that vote without a second thought. She hates herself for not seeing sooner what Ethan was, for never turning toward the one who had quietly given everything. If she had paid attention even a little earlier, she would have found the best doctors, spared no cost, would have found the courage to stand up to Vivienne, and fought with everything she had to keep Ethan home, kept him close, kept him safe. But she had been naive enough to believe that if she just kept showing up, I would eventually forgive her, and that once I came back, everything would simply return to how it had been, those evenings playing piano together in the fading light. But the reality in front of her is brutal grief, so acute it blurs everything she looks at, and her mind unravels into fragments, images cycling through like a lantern spinning in the dark. She remembers holding my hand, looking up at the stars together in the summer breeze. She remembers the times I had stepped in front of her without thinking of myself. Everything she has built, every achievement she wears, was built on Ethan's willingness to stay hidden, to let the applause and the glory pass over him in the dark, and give every chance to shine to her instead. Song after song going viral. She had made it to the biggest music award stage she had ever dreamed of, and after her speech the press had swarmed around her. One sharp entertainment outlet had asked what had driven her to where she stood today, and who was the person she most wanted to thank. She had thanked many people with grace and composure, and from the stage she had spotted me standing in the crowd, and seeing how plainly and poorly I was dressed, she had felt embarrassed to be associated with me, so she had not mentioned me once the sharp-eyed outlet noticed and pressed her. There are rumors online that you have a brother who grew up with you, who has been quietly sitting beside you at the piano since you were both very young. Do you have nothing to say to him on a night like this? But Melody had believed, completely and without question, that everything she had achieved had nothing to do with me, and so she had answered with two words, flat and dismissive: no one. But I, standing in that crowd, had not looked hurt. I had been smiling for her, genuinely, unreservedly, because she was being praised by so many people. Ethan, this time let it be my turn. Let me spend whatever is left fighting for you. Her voice has gone rough from crying. She sees a missed call from Vivienne and calls back before Vivienne can say a word. Melody speaks first, without hesitation. I've completely changed my mind. I'm bringing Ethan home. Vivienne erupts. What are you talking about? Have I not explained this to you clearly enough? Your real brother was shoved by him just yesterday, and now you want to bring him back? What do you think that does to Xavier? Melody's voice comes back sharp and loud. Isn't Ethan the brother I watched grow up? If you are forcing me to choose between the two of them, I choose Ethan without hesitation. And Xavier getting shoved, didn't he bring that on himself? If he can't accept that, then he can pack his things and leave. Vivienne completely loses it on the other end. Have you lost your mind? Listen to yourself. Everyone in the city knows we've reunited with our real brother, and now you want to push him out? What do you think people will say about the Moore family? But through the phone comes Melody's voice, broken and desperate. Ethan has an incurable illness. The doctor said he has less than a year left. On the very day he received that diagnosis, when he was at his lowest, we threw him out. The words reach Vivienne and the line goes completely silent. Melody holds her breath, hoping that guilt alone will be enough to make Vivienne say yes, but what she hears instead is something she could not have prepared for. Transfer some money to his account. Consider it financial compensation from the Moore family. No one asks to get sick, but his illness has nothing to do with us. What's done is done. Having him come back to Moore Estate now, do you honestly think that is the rational, right thing to do? The calculation in Vivienne's mind is precise. If she gives in and lets me move back Xavier, who never fails to cause trouble, will tear the house apart, and the household will descend into chaos again. She steadies herself with this reasoning and softens her tone just slightly. Melody, I'm asking you, stop this. Xavier suffered for years out there. Don't do something that would hurt him, like this. During this entire phone call, Xavier has been standing nearby, listening when he hears Melody say she would choose me over him. He goes pale with rage, his entire body trembling. But when the second half reaches him, and he learns that I have less than a year left to live, the corner of his mouth twists with a satisfaction he can barely conceal. Every version of you deserve it cycling through his mind, and the only thing that spoils it is why the nuisance is not dying sooner. Why is fate giving him another year? Melody has heard enough. I completely disagree with everything you just said. She hits the end call button hard. At the same time in the hospital room, I stir as consciousness begins to return. Making a small sound, Melody is at my side, immediately eyes red. Ethan, you're awake. Did my call disturb you? I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Once my head is fully clear, I give her one sentence. Yes, now get out. Her breath catches, and she struggles to find air. Please don't talk to me like that. She does not finish. Who exactly are you performing this for? The tears fall from her like something breaking. You're weak. Don't move. I'm leaving. Only when she is gone does the room feel quiet from the state she was in just now. She has almost certainly found out everything. But it does not matter to me anymore. I have no desire to have anything to do with the Moore family. Melody gets into the car outside the hospital, but does not start the engine. She just sits there. The wind has picked up, dragging heavy rain with it, the windshield covered in beads of water, and listening to the rain, her grief deepens. She thinks of other rainy days, the ones where I had sat beside her all day at the piano. As long as my music was playing, she had never felt alone. And now that sound is growing further away. Melody picks up her phone through her tears and searches for my name online. The first thing that appears stops her cold. A post from the woman who falsely accused me, claiming I am dangerous. Melody clicks immediately, and it is exactly what she feared. The same woman who had fabricated the accusation against me, for reasons unknown, has revised the original false account and posted it again, claiming her previous apology had been made under pressure and that she is now choosing to speak her truth. She has even pinned a comment to the top: if I stay silent today, and the same thing happens to someone else tomorrow, there will be no one left to speak up. Although the original incident was over a year ago, the current online attention surrounding Ethan has given the post traction, and the comments are already multiplying with reactions split in every direction. Bystanders tend to default to the side of whoever appears more vulnerable, and even without a shred of evidence, there are already voices piling on against me. Melody's fist closes tight. The last time something like this happened to Ethan, she had not stepped in, had not even checked on him, and he had carried the weight of it alone this time. Even if it is only to ease her own guilt, even if it is just to give herself some small measure of peace, she will see it through to the end. With that, she dials her lawyer. There is something I need you to handle. The woman who made false accusations against Ethan before, she has started again. I've sent you the link. On the other end, the lawyer pulls it up. I'll contact her now and have the post taken down. But Melody stops him immediately. No, we gave her a chance before. This time I want to press charges. I'm leaving it in your hands. Are you certain about this? Does Vivienne know? Melody does not hesitate for even a second. She has no idea. If she asks, tell her this was my decision. The lawyer goes quiet for a moment. Have the sisters fallen out? But since Melody has made herself clear, he has no reason to hesitate. This shouldn't be a difficult case. I collected a significant amount of evidence back then. Vivienne said she wanted it handled quietly at the time, so none of it was ever used. This time we can use all of it. Everything. Hearing this, a thought surfaces. Xavier was the one who had put that woman up to it. If the case goes to court, would Xavier get pulled in too? But she pushes the thought aside quickly. So what if he does? He chose to do this to Ethan. Whatever comes his way, he brought it on himself across town. The woman in question is sitting back with a self-satisfied look, lounging comfortably on her sofa. She had almost forgotten the whole thing. But over the past few days, she had watched the person she falsely accused suddenly go viral, and an idea had taken shape. She had decided to use the old accusation as leverage and squeeze some money out of me. Her reasoning was simple: people with money don't care about small amounts. Last time the whole thing had blown up and ended with nothing more than an apology, so the reward far outweighed the risk. But I had not responded the way she expected. I had sent back a single word: get lost. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got, so she had dug up the old fabricated post, revised it, and published it again today. Her expectation was that before long I would reach out and beg her to take it down, because nobody with a following doesn't care about their reputation, especially someone with as many fans as me. She had settled in front of the television to wait. Half an hour later, the doorbell rings. She assumes it is a food delivery and goes to answer it. But two police officers are standing outside. You are the person who goes by this name, correct? She blinks and nods slowly. Here is the situation. You published a post online this morning. Someone has come forward with evidence that the content is fabricated. We need you to come with us for questioning. She stands there, completely frozen. It's illegal to post online now? If the content is fabricated and it damages another person's reputation and the view count crosses a certain threshold, then yes, it may constitute a criminal offense. Cold sweat breaks out across her. Instantly, she grabs her phone in a panic and sees that the post's view count has multiplied several times over in the past half hour. Her legs go weak with fright and she sinks straight to the floor. Half an hour later, inside the police station, the lawyer watches her walk in and rises with a pleasant smile. We meet again. Recognizing him, she stops struggling and deflates. The post may have been somewhat exaggerated. Can I just do what I did last time? Delete it and apologize? The lawyer lets out a quiet laugh, and that sound alone makes her stomach drop. Since you've admitted the content was false, let me be straightforward with you. The post has already exceeded 1 million views. We will be proceeding with formal charges. The gravity of the situation hits her, and she turns to the officer beside her and whispers, what happens if the defamation is considered serious? The answer breaks her on the spot. If the other party refuses to drop the charges, a custodial sentence is very likely. Then why didn't anyone tell me sooner? I posted at 9 this morning. Why is he only coming to me now? He must have seen it hours ago. He deliberately waited until the views went up and then came after me. Isn't that entrapment? You should be going after him, not me. The lawyer offers no response. The law is the law, and evidence speaks louder than excuses. No amount of complaining changes anything. Though if he is honest, he does feel a small flicker of sympathy when Melody had called him and he had pulled up the post. It already had significant traction, but if his client wants to press charges, he will do exactly that. The officer steps in. None of that matters right now. Cases like this are typically dropped if the complainant withdraws. If you can obtain their forgiveness and they agree to withdraw, you'll be in the clear. A thread of hope surfaces in her. She is about to offer a verbal apology, but quickly realizes that will not be enough. After all, she had tried apologizing before and been ignored, so she takes a breath and calls her father, afraid of being scolded. She gives him a carefully softened version of events, 10 minutes later, her parents burst through the door, furious because of the way she had framed it. They believe the lawyer has been threatening their daughter and their anger tips over the edge. Then, when the lawyer flatly states that no apology will be accepted, the couple decides their daughter is finished and lunges forward. The room descends into complete chaos. The two officers in the room cannot contain it. Other officers on duty hear the commotion and rush in before order is restored. The lawyer, having taken a minor hit in the scuffle, stares blankly as he is helped to his feet. He has one quiet thought: they are absolutely, unmistakably related on my end. After speaking with Dr. Reeves, I leave with a prescription for medication to help prevent sudden collapses. None of it is covered by insurance. 20,000. A bottle. After writing the prescription, Dr. Reeves explains why he had not prescribed these before. They do nothing to slow the illness itself, and for most families, the cost alone would be devastating, so he does not recommend them as a matter of course. I ask a follow-up question. If money were no object, what options would there be? Dr. Reeves actually has an answer: injections, running into the millions per dose, a cutting-edge cellular therapy team working from a fully customized treatment protocol with daily costs calculated in the millions and the odds of success vanishingly small. At best, it offers the very wealthy one final sliver of psychological comfort. In the end, Dr. Reeves tells me quietly to take in the world and live well. I thank him and walk out of the hospital. The sound of rain follows me, my feet finding puddles in the uneven pavement, and a tiredness settles over me. Unlike anything I have felt before, something that has been pulled taut inside me for a long time finally snaps, and the exhaustion floods in. I had thought I had made peace with it, but standing here, I realize I have let go of nothing. Sunny still plays hopscotch in front of me, still burrows into my arms and calls me her brother. Helen cries whenever she notices I am not. Well, I have only just found a real home and learned what it feels like to want things. I have found someone I love completely, and all of it could be taken from me at any moment. Mom, I don't want to die like this. I crouch down on the wet ground and fall apart. The grief that has been buried at the very bottom of me rises past every barrier I built and spreads. When it passes, I pick up my umbrella, stand up, and keep walking toward home. At the intersection, a traffic officer is still directing the flow of cars. No matter how completely a person falls apart, the city keeps moving. Meanwhile, at Moore Estate, a single offhand comment from Xavier about wanting something different to eat has sent Butler Hayes scrambling to redo the entire menu. He rushes to have the kitchen draft a new one from scratch, sourcing different ingredients, then coordinating with 2 more household staff to fulfill Xavier's additional request, switching the entire table setting from Chinese to Western style. Hours of work from everyone involved, and the meal is finally on the table just in time. Xavier surveys the perfectly prepared beef in front of him and gives a satisfied nod. More than the quality of the food itself, it is the feeling of being waited on like this that he savors most. He opens a bottle of champagne, pours himself a glass. To you, Vivienne. Xavier lifts his glass and turns his smile toward Melody across the table, but his hand is trembling slightly as he holds it up. Melody acts as though she heard nothing, cutting her steak in a daze. Vivienne gives a quiet cough beside her. Melody, Xavier is speaking to you. Melody finally speaks. Other than having that woman make false accusations against Ethan, is there anything else you did to hurt him? Xavier's face freezes and his voice takes on a faint, aggrieved thickness. Why would you say something like that to me? What I did before was wrong, I admit that, but that was the only time. If you don't believe me, I'll go to the station right now and prove it. Melody listens and responds with a cold smile. Then go ahead, call them. Vivienne slaps the table. Enough. Stop this. Calling the police to investigate. Do you want to destroy what's left of this family's reputation? The Moore sisters forcing their own brother to prove his innocence to the police. If that gets out, we will never hear the end of it. Melody almost laughs. Wasn't Ethan her brother too? Hadn't Vivienne forced him to prove himself back then? But Vivienne's priority has always been the Moore name, and she would never in 1,000 years allow police to come investigate her own household, so Xavier had known that when he made his offer, and had the audacity to say it anyway. Seeing Melody go quiet, and Vivienne siding with him, Xavier finds his footing. I know you don't like me, Melody, but I really want you and Vivienne to get along. Please stop fighting because of me. If you two can just be at peace with each other, I'll move out right now. I mean it. By the time he finishes, Xavier has moved himself, his eyes faintly reddening at the edges, which only makes Vivienne more convinced that Melody is being completely unreasonable. I know you feel guilty about Ethan's illness, but no one wanted this to happen, and it has nothing to do with us. I'll say something you won't want to hear. The decision to make Ethan leave, wasn't that something we all agreed to? At those words, something in Melody's chest stings like a needle going in. Yes, she thinks quietly of who she was back then. Why had she been so weak? Why couldn't she stand by what she believed? She had become one of the people who drove me out. Vivienne keeps pressing, let it go, Melody. Look at us right now. A family, sharing a meal together. What could be better than this? Why bring up someone who has already left and ruin it for everyone? Melody's smile is hollow and bitter. How is she supposed to let go? Ethan had given his entire life to her once again. She does not do as Vivienne says. I am going to bring Ethan back. I want him to come home. And if Xavier has done anything else to hurt him, I will find out every single thing. But right at that moment, a member of the household staff approaches Xavier and murmurs something in his ear. Xavier's expression twists violently. He flings his arm out, sending everything on the table in front of him crashing to the floor. Wine splashes across the ground. Butler Hayes lets out a heavy sigh from where he stands. It looks like there is more work ahead. Vivienne startles visibly. Xavier, what is wrong with you? Xavier's eyes have gone red, and he points directly at Melody. Why did you send a lawyer after her? Why are you having her charged? If she names me as the one who put her up to it, what happens then? Did you think about that for even 1 second? Melody has known all along that Xavier was performing, and seeing his real face emerge now, she almost laughs. What happens? Whatever the law says happens. If you get pulled into it, didn't you bring that on yourself? When you decided to do what you did, did you think it through then? Vivienne watches the two of them erupt and feels completely lost. It takes her a while to piece together what is happening. She calls over the staff member who had spoken to Xavier, and what she hears confirms what she already suspected. It goes back to the false accusation against Ethan. But she has to stand with Xavier because he is her real brother. Before their parents died, they had made it clear the Moore name must not be allowed to fade this generation, must hold on to the family's wealth and reputation all these years. Vivienne has carried those words close to protect the prosperity of the Moore family. She has done many things that went against her own conscience, each one compounding on the last like a snowball rolling downhill, and the more she does, the heavier it becomes. But she has no choice but to keep going, and so, with the family's survival always at the front of her mind, after her real brother disappeared, she had brought an adopted son into the Moore household to fill the gap, but because Ethan did not carry Moore blood, no matter what he did, Vivienne could not change the way she saw him, could not rid herself of the deep-seated aversion she felt. And so Ethan had lived in this household for over a decade, like someone at the bottom of the hierarchy. Whatever feeling Vivienne had ever shown toward him was never really family love. It was closer to the attachment one develops for a pet, something that grows from years of simply coexisting. So between Ethan and Xavier, there is no comparison in Vivienne's mind for the Moore name, and for the continuation of the Moore line, she will always stand with Xavier. Back at the table, Melody's words have left Xavier red-faced. The thought of being implicated, of facing actual consequences, and Melody's threat to remove him from the house turns Xavier's fury rapidly into something darker, but he does not dare direct it openly at Melody, afraid of how Vivienne would react, so he turns it on the room instead, grabbing and smashing things around him, pouring his rage into anything within reach. Butler Hayes watches from the side, his face creased with deep worry. The scented candles. There should be more in storage. That expensive coffee maker. That model is going to be very hard to replace. The hand-stitched silk tablecloth. 2 days for a custom order, and that porcelain vase. Wait. Butler Hayes is just about to speak up when Xavier has already lifted it above his head, the most prominent piece in the entire dining room, and brings it down with full force. A sharp crack and shards scatter across the floor. Butler Hayes closes his eyes for a moment and thinks, that is very bad. He is still deciding whether to step in when Melody surges forward and delivers a hard slap. The stinging heat across his face is the moment Xavier realizes what has just happened. Then he sees her arm draw back again, and he flinches, clutching his face and putting on a pitiful expression. Vivienne steps in immediately and shoves Melody back, pulling Xavier behind her. Apologize to your brother. The force of it sends Melody stumbling 2 steps back. Whether it is watching the vase be smashed without a second thought, or having her own sister shove her, all of it crashes down on Melody at once, and she breaks down completely, sobbing. That was a gift from Mr. Vale. Don't stop me. But Vivienne does not move. Melody, how long are you going to keep this up? Do you really think he meant to break it? I'll have Hayes buy you 10 just like it tomorrow. Now apologize to your brother. Right now. I am not joking. Seeing the Xavier forces out a couple of tears. I'm so sorry, Melody. I had no idea that vase meant so much to you. It was all my fault. I deserve to be hit. Vivienne casts a pained look at Xavier's reddened cheek, then steps forward and grabs Melody firmly by the wrist, pulling hard. He is your real brother. Melody does not react in time, but her body instinctively pulls back, loses its footing, and she falls to the floor. Vivienne sees it, and a flicker of panic crosses her face. Melody, I didn't mean to. Get up, please. Come on. The hand she offers is slapped away. Either he leaves or I do. Melody looks at Xavier with nothing but contempt. That vase was from Mr. Vale, the only gift Ethan had ever given her, and possibly the last one he ever will. That thought breaks her open all over again. Every birthday she has had, there had always been something from Ethan, carefully prepared, and she had never once treated it as anything. Vivienne hears those words, and something in her nearly gives way too. A shimmer of tears rising in her eyes. Melody, why do you have to say things like this? He is your brother. You are his sister. Xavier, also on the floor, can no longer hide the venom in his eyes. He resents that I am still alive, clinging to one more year. Why am I not dying right now? He resents Melody for taking the side of an outsider and threatening to take back the life he fought so hard to claim. The hatred makes his teeth tremble. In this moment, he wants both of them gone. Melody, please. I won't make you apologize. Can't we just live as a family in peace? Why does it always come to this? Stop fighting over Ethan. Whatever else you want to say, this family raised him. 20 full years. Have we truly wronged him that badly? Vivienne presses a hand to her forehead, a headache closing in, and right at that moment Xavier pours more fuel onto it. It's all my fault, Vivienne. Every single thing, all my fault. Melody has every right to be angry at me. Since Melody clearly can't stand having me here, I'll leave right now. I'll go to the station and answer for what I did. Melody pulls out her phone without hesitation. Keep going. Don't stop on my account. I'll have my lawyer come draw up the paperwork first, to get your registration removed from this household. Then I'll walk you to the station myself. I'd love to see exactly how you plan to make amends. Vivienne sees it clearly now. This household can only hold one of them, and the realization undoes something in her. Tears rise in her eyes. Melody, why are you pushing it this far? Do you not care at all about what this does to the Moore name? Melody's voice breaks as she answers, then just kick me out, Vivienne, the same way you kicked out Ethan. On my end, I have boarded a bus and taken a window seat staring out at the sky, mind drifting after what Dr. Reeves told me. I have one more reason. To earn money, even if the treatment option is a long shot. Having more money in hand is always better than not. The 2 piano compositions brought in $4 million. The 2 songs sold to Sienna brought in $3 million more. That should be enough to move the family somewhere better. And I found out last night that Sunny's teacher has been conducting herself in ways that violate every basic standard, targeting Sunny at every turn. So I plan to sit down with Helen soon and get Sunny transferred to a better school. As for the teacher running that illegal tutoring operation, once Sunny is safely settled somewhere new, I will find a lawyer and give that teacher a surprise she did not plan for. After all of that, the millions will probably be mostly gone. So I send Sienna a message. Are you free? Let me take you to eat. I wrote a few songs while I was in the hospital. I'd like to show you and see if any of them work for you. Sienna's reply comes quickly. Just a string of question marks followed by several rounds of checking whether I am serious. Once I confirm that I mean it, she agrees without any further hesitation. I put the phone away, and a heavy tiredness settles over me. Dr. Reeves had mentioned this enormous side effect of the new medication. A short rest is all it takes, so I drift into that halfway place between sleep and waking. A few stops pass, and the bus fills with more passengers. I am jolted awake by a sharp voice. Young man, these seats are reserved for the elderly, disabled, and pregnant. A middle-aged woman has looked around and apparently decided I am the easiest target. She walks straight over to me. I have ridden buses long enough to have met plenty of people like this, some far worse, the kind who say, refusing to give up your seat is a moral failure. If she were genuinely elderly, that would be one thing, but she looks to be barely past 40. Does that really qualify? When I appear to ignore her completely, she immediately escalates. I'm talking to you. Are you deaf or sick or what? I'm telling you, I have a senior citizen card. This seat is rightfully mine. I reach into my bag and pull out the report I had printed at the hospital and hand it to her. I have late-stage liver cancer. I just regained consciousness. I came straight from the hospital. She takes the report on instinct, and then those words reach her and it lands like a blow to the chest. A wave of self-reproach follows immediately, after others nearby have heard it too, and their eyes shift to her with quiet judgment. But she cannot bring herself to apologize, pride getting in the way, so she simply moves to the side and goes silent. When the bus reaches my stop, I get off through the window. She watches me walk away, coughing weakly with each step, and the urge to slap herself rises. Unbidden. What is wrong with me? I arrive at a lively outdoor food stall, order a spread of food, and sit down to wait for Sienna. 20 minutes later, her car pulls up at the curb. A sports car worth more than most people earn in a lifetime, and the woman who steps out, wearing sunglasses that do nothing to hide who she is, draws immediate stares from everyone nearby. Sienna spots me waving and makes her way over. When she gets there, she sees the small plastic stool waiting for her, and after a beat of visible hesitation, she sits down, having already seen me ride off on a shared bicycle. She had already guessed that I would not be taking her anywhere upscale, but this is still a level below what she had imagined. She glances at the stall next door, where flies are circling above the ingredients, and someone accustomed to clean, well-lit dining finds this genuinely difficult to sit with. She quietly prepares herself to eat nothing. Ethan, are you all right now? I'm fine. Got some new medication. Shouldn't be collapsing like that again, though the medicine is quite expensive. So here I am, trying to earn more. Sienna stares at him for a moment. She gets the distinct impression that I had decided I needed money first, and then sat down and wrote the songs. If that is actually how it happened, the talent is genuinely terrifying good. You scared me when you collapsed like that. Her curiosity about the songs takes over. Ethan, where are these songs? Right at that moment, the owner brings out everything I ordered. I scoop myself a bowl of fried rice, then fill one for Sienna to the brim and press it down firmly with the spoon. I've worked out the ideas already. I was writing while I waited for you. Not finished yet, though. Eat first. Sienna looks at the bowl of fried rice, and her expression becomes visibly awkward. Out of politeness, she accepts it with both hands and says thank you, but has absolutely no intention of touching it. I shovel down 2 large mouthfuls, then pick up a pen and keep writing, alternating between scribbling and eating, and somehow, watching me, Sienna realizes she is actually hungry. She surveys the spread on the table, and after considerable deliberation, reaches for a skewer of stinky tofu. The moment she bites through the scalding outside, her eyes go wide purely in terms of flavor. This is actually not bad. She sets down the skewer and reaches for the fish balls I had been eating. One goes in, and her eyes light up. This is genuinely delicious. And right at that moment, I hand over the third finished song. Sienna sets down the grilled wing she had just picked up and takes the pages with both hands. Reading carefully, looking at all 3 pieces, Sienna becomes more convinced than ever that Ethan must be the mysterious Mr. Vale who had been writing for Melody all along. The thought brings back the memory of the first time she had met Melody. She had been seated beside her, and spoken with poorly concealed pride. I know both of the top songwriters in the industry. Both of them. And they've both agreed to write for me. Melody had looked genuinely envious because these were legendary figures in the songwriting world. Money alone could not buy a collaboration with them. But right at that moment, Melody's phone had given a quiet buzz, and she had broken into a radiant smile. I know Mr. Vale. Back at Moore Estate, Butler Hayes waves the other staff away, and they visibly exhale with relief, grateful eyes following him as they hurry out of the storm. Butler Hayes has watched Vivienne grow up from childhood and considers himself someone who knows her well in his view. Ever since Vivienne took over the Moore household from the previous generation, the hardest thing she has had to do, the thing that has cost her the most, has probably been restraining herself from completely favoring Xavier. So she instinctively overlooks a great deal of what Xavier does. In her mind, he is a naive, love-starved child who sometimes makes foolish mistakes. Butler Hayes does not share this view. After Xavier moved into Moore Estate, Vivienne had assigned Hayes to personally look after Xavier's room, and every morning when he goes in to clean, he can smell a different woman's perfume, and sometimes finds false eyelashes on the floor, nail stickers, and other small traces of company he has also found. In the drawer of Xavier's room, several pieces of jewelry belonging to Vivienne. In all his years here, he has never once seen Vivienne willingly give away jewelry she has worn, so he has drawn his own conclusion. Xavier had most likely taken them without asking, probably to give to the women he brought around. But this is not the kind of thing he asks about, and certainly not something he volunteers. He keeps up the appearance of knowing nothing. Even though Vivienne runs the household, he cannot afford to offend any of the principals. That is the lesson years in this house have taught him. If you want to keep your position at Moore Estate, do not make an enemy of anyone with power over you. Which is also why, back when Ethan had been treated worse than the household staff, Butler Hayes had still extended him what respect he could. In Butler Hayes's eyes, Xavier has never been anything close to naive or foolish, not even slightly. Melody, what are you saying? How could I ever bring myself to send you away? Please stop putting me in this position. One of you is my real sister. One is my real brother. How am I supposed to choose between you? I am not going to drive either of you out. Vivienne is barely holding together, her voice going rough. Xavier, tomorrow you will find an identical vase and replace it. It's all my fault, Melody. Please don't be angry with me anymore. I'll replace it before I go. He reaches out to help Melody up, but she flings his hand away. Don't touch me. A grown man constantly playing the victim like this. Do you not find yourself disgusting? Xavier lets a few tears fall. I'll leave right now. Vivienne grabs his arm immediately. You are not going anywhere today. Then she turns to Melody with something close to disbelief in her eyes. Xavier is your real brother. He is the only brother any of us will ever have. Without him, can we even call this a real family? Can the Moore name carry on? Why have you become so narrow-minded about this? Why are you forcing me into a choice like this? Xavier has had a hard enough life already. All those years out there, struggling. And this is how you treat him now?